A100 with Konnan Disco is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA and NHL playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAD, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. What's going on, brother?
How you guys doing?
Pretty good, man.
Good.
How you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. You guys?
I'm doing all right. I want to go back to a story that you've repeated to start off hot here. What was the story the first time when you came into WCW and you met me for the first time?
I did not expect that. Brother, I walked in the dressing room. By the way, I believe we had our best match of our career with you, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
I walked in the first day at WCW. They had a trailer for us outside.
Right.
And
are you guys
nowhere to put us the first day.
Are you guys a little bit nervous coming in?
No.
You don't know how, but you don't know how anybody's gonna be treating, correct?
No.
Okay, right.
But we already had our WWF run, you know.
Right. Oh, right. Cool.
So we were excited, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we had a trailer outside, and I remember Vamp came in there, and Vamp was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Vampiro," and we were fans, you know. And he was like, "Listen, no matter what Raven and them say, they got us doing a thing together called the Deadpool. No matter what Raven and them say, just listen to me, stick with me." And we were like, cool. You know, we shook his hand, and he left. 5 minutes later, Raven come in there and said the same exact thing. He was like, no matter what man for them say, just listen to me and stick to me. You stick with me. You got to with me. We were like, cool. So we painted up in the thing, and we walked into the dressing room, bro. And it was like perfect timing. I walked in the dressing room where all the boys are sitting there. You could smell the sweat and the heat, you know, in the locker room. And the door hadn't even shut behind me. Disco, you turn around and throw a bottle of baby oil. Like, I walked in and it's flying at me. And I caught it, you know what I'm saying? And you came walking up, you were like, "Get my back," you know what I'm saying?
I vaguely do, because here's what I do remember from that night is there was a locker room sellout at the monitors for your matches. Okay, everybody wanted to see how you got. Oh yeah, everybody's wanted to see how you guys would do, right? And if anybody goes back and watches that match, like you guys were good, like, you know, like, and to the point, like, you know, when your partner hit that big leg drop off the top, it was like, wow, dude, I'm watching literally me, Benoit, and Eddie are at one of the monitors watching, okay? And you know, these guys are very, like, you know, they're old school, like, who are these guys coming in and everything, all that. Bro, after you guys went and did the match, we all looked at each other, like, you know, look at each other, make eye contact, and Eddie Guerrero goes, "Not bad. Not bad." So everybody's like, you could have, like, gotten solar heat if you guys would have bombed out there, but you guys absolutely, like, nailed it and just, like, got the respect of the boys back there. So that was
just for the
great. I didn't know that.
100% credit for that. Yeah, absolutely.
The first man.
Great. We had the minute we got to WCW, it was like heaven, man. It really was. Like everybody was so cool, and the freedom, like they didn't tell us you can do whatever you want, but we learned that they were usually down with whatever we wanted to do. Right. Especially our second run there, you know. Right. Our second run there. So yeah, that was even more wilder when Bischoff and Russo were there.
Oh. Yeah. Now, did you contact them, or they contacted you, or how did you get into WCW?
Oh, after we left WWE, we contacted them.
Right.
They were like, "Come on." And another thing that was cool about WCW was they were like, "All right, how many guys are coming over?" Like, they didn't literally know anything about us, you know. They're like, how many flights? And we were like, 7? And they were just like, sure, you know what I mean? And all our friends are coming over there, you know, until they basically got bored coming every Monday. You know what I mean? Like, we loved it, man. Even when WCW was so fun that even when we weren't on tour, we would go on tour with them. Like when we weren't on our concert tour, we would tour with WCW doing house shows.
Really?
We were only required to be there on Monday, but we were there every day.
I remember that.
Wrestling different guys. Some nights we wouldn't have a match and we'd just go in the arena and cut a 5-minute promo. You know what I mean?
Well, you guys had fans.
That's how much we loved it.
Plus, too, you guys were bringing fans. You had your fans were coming to see you. You know, you guys always had a following. So it's like, it's like, you know, it's like, hey, these guys are like, well, what are you going to knock these guys? But they're bringing fans to the show. You know, it's like, they're drawing. You know, so yeah.
You know, we were wrestlers. We were wrestlers before we were rappers.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I when I was 19, I wrestled as Corporal Daryl Daniels. And I wore military fatigue because my brother was in Desert Storm and he would send all this home, you know. And I had a mullet, and I don't know what kind of military organization would let you in with a mullet, but I had a mullet and I was Corporal Dale Dance and I'd sing, salute the corp, you know. And Shaggy was my manager because he was only 17 and he hadn't filled out yet, you know what I'm saying? And he was my manager as Shaggy, you know. And we traveled around the Midwest, and then when Joey turned 18, got a little bit bigger, we started wrestling, you know. And we'd be in the dressing room. I remember like the first 4 shows we did, and this is what's weird. And let me ask you guys if it was like this for y'all. This is what's really weird. The only young people in that entire dressing room was me, Sabu, and Rob Van Dam. And check it out. I'm not saying my perspective from a 19-year-old. I was looking at 25-year-olds thinking these guys are old. No, these guys were rocking beer bellies. You know what I'm saying? They were like in their 40s. The whole locker room was like that. Everywhere, like the first few shows I went to, everywhere was like that. And I remember thinking, and everybody's giving me, are you still rapping? How's the rapping going? One promoter wanted to call me Bazooka Joe Rap, you know? Like, yeah, but was it like that for you guys when you broke in? Was it, you know, because it was the old guard?
Absolutely, because it was a bunch of like the Southern Indies that I broke in back in the early 90s, right? And it was basically a bunch of guys that, you know, wrestled Southern style. And so all decent workers, but never really got in shape. So they were just indie wrestlers their entire life, you know, because they never like got in shape to get on TV or anything like that. So basically, like, that was like the locker room until it became, you know, wrestling evolved over the years to where it's now a bunch of young cats trying to become a professional wrestler. You know, like the indies back then used to be guys that never really made it and like had been doing it for years. There weren't a lot. It was more difficult to get in back then.
You wrestled me in Mysterio too, because the Shaggy 2 Dope, he hit me with that leg drop and my neck. Obviously an accident, but yeah.
Right. Good. Let me give.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Here's another one of my favorite. One of the stories about the Insane Clown Posse. So me and Hall, and I forgot maybe who else it was. We did one of your shows up there in Detroit, an indie show, right? And after the show, till we got in the van, you took us to the your warehouse. This was the most bizarre experience I've ever had in my life, because we pulled up, and it's like, there's the warehouse. Okay, and you walk in your warehouse. There was just like just a desk there in the front with the receptionist and stuff like that. You're unassuming, right? Then you walk to the right, and you walk through that door, right? Bro, I walked in the warehouse, and it's just rows and rows of merchandise. And I'm looking around and go like, why does this place look 10 times bigger in here than it does looking at it from the outside? And I was like, it's like a Willy Wonka chocolate factory. It was like a kind of like a weird experience like that. Like you had so much stuff in there that it looked like it was like way bigger on the inside than looking at it from the outside. Has anybody else ever brought that up? Do you?
What? No, not at that building, but I know exactly what you mean. Let me ask you this: were we running a wrestling show there that night? Because we ran shows at our office all the time.
Not at the. It was at a different location. You went and remember we went and visited your warehouse, and then you went and took us to your house.
Yeah, are you sure this wasn't after that TNA show?
I was.
We promoted TNA's very first house show. And it was at a place called the CompuWare Arena. It was TNA's very first house show. It was at the CompuWare Arena.
I forget a lot of stuff these days because I remember Scott Hall was there. And I don't remember.
Yeah, Mr. Robbie, I apologize, Violent J. What's the yearly festival called? The Juggalo?
Gathering.
It was probably the Gathering, DI. You were there for the wrestling event, right?
No, it wasn't the Gathering. It was a different, it was just an indie show that you'd taken us to.
How could the Gathering be a house show?
Right. So the Gathering's an event.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we were doing these bi-weekly pay-per-views down in Pontiac. Okay.
Right.
And Scott was doing the winner. Yeah, we used to hang really, really tight with Scott during that time.
Right. Yeah. I remember that. But that was cool. You had a cool house, as I said. You would think like not like killing your gimmick or anything. It was like, bro, these guys live out in the burbs with all the rich.
Well, let me tell you what's so interesting to me, Joe, that when you went to WCW, I had zero clue who you guys were because I just didn't know who you were. And I didn't, and I'm sure you've been asked these things before, and maybe you're tired of answering it, but I didn't know it. And if I didn't know it, I'm sure a lot of people didn't know it. I think that's what's very impressive to me is that, I was reading in the wiki, and I don't know how correct this is, that you were basically broke, very, very poor, wearing, hand-me-downs and Salvation Army type, and people used to make fun of you, but you didn't. And you called yourself the Floobs or the Flubs or
yeah Floobs.
Yeah. And then and
Floobs
so
Juggalos, I think
yeah, and so right, and that like you were in a gang, and then you guys had like radios and tear gas, and to go from there to being who you are now and living who you are, and I didn't even know this, that you have. Let me see because I actually wrote it down because I forget nowadays. They had 2 platinum and 5 gold albums.
Yeah.
That's a great story. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, man. It really is. It's like it's like the Rags to Riches old classic, but hip hop is quite often that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
but you're white boys in hip hop doing this. You're used to seeing black guys. You know what I'm saying? It's very different. And here's the other question I wanted to ask you. The gang that you were in or the gangs that you were against, because I was reading this thing that some other gang maybe wanted to attack your mom's house. Were these gangs white gangs or they were white and black gangs, or what was it like in Detroit?
Mostly Mexican, where we lived in Southwest Detroit.
Really?
Yeah, wow. It's also Mexican town. That's why at the show this weekend at Triple Mania, I wanted to wear a Clark Park jersey because Clark Park is the park right in the middle of Mexican town. That's in Southwest Detroit, And I know there'll be eyes on that show, and they'll be like,
that's cool.
Clark Park all the way over, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's cool, bro. And let me. I thought this was just kind of a beautiful story, to tell you the truth. So let me see. I got it here somewhere. So listen to this, Di. It says, I'm going to tell the butterfly story. At age 7, Joe and his brother caught a butterfly. Both were fascinated by the vibrant colors and overall peacefulness of the creature. They kept the butterfly in a jar overnight and intended to free it the following morning. When they awoke, the brothers found the butterfly had died and felt as they had committed a murder. The brothers made it a vow that one day they will make it to heaven so they can apologize to the butterfly face to face. On every Insane Clown ACP album and EP, it reads, dedicated to the butterfly. That's a cool story.
Well, you think about it like this. This is how I relate it to. When you're born, when you're first born and you're young like that, you don't have racism in you. You don't have all these ideas.
You're innocent.
And yes, you're clean. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
All that is instilled
People
in my
put
life.
that in your head, right?
Exactly.
Right.
If you were to take a Kleenex right out of a Kleenex, a white clean Kleenex, and tie it to an antenna on your antenna right in New York, and drive all the way to L.A., by the time you got to L.A., what's that Kleenex gonna look like? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
gonna be dirty, right? That's what
Right.
we're like. And so by me and my brother saying dedicated to the butterfly, we take these wicked things like our albums and all these things that we put all this time and effort, and we remind ourselves, dedicated to the butterfly. So you got to get back to where you were. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Before you die. You know what I'm saying? That's the theory behind that. But yeah, man, we're good people. We just want to see everybody. You know what I'm saying? We want to see it. Like we're not super religious or anything like that, but we want to see everybody in a better place. You know what I'm saying?
I just thought that was a cool story. Now, let me ask you another question. How did you get into WWE? Who called you? Because it also says here that you were in a feud with the Headbangers in the first wrestling match. The Headbangers were stiff and throwing real punches, and so they took you out of that program. What happened there?
Well, here's what's crazy. When the WWF called us, right? They were
Right.
like, yeah, we got this team called the Human Oddities.
Right. I
And they
love
were
the
like, we
human
want
oddities,
you guys-
by the way.
Yeah, they were like, we want we want you guys to make the ring music. We were like, do you know we wrestle?
Yeah,
And they were
probably
like,
not.
what do you mean? And we're like, man, I was a wrestler. Joey too. We wrestle. And so they flew us out to Stanford, and we wrestled Tom Pritchard. You know what I mean? And filmed it for Vince McMahon. Next thing you know, we're debuting at SummerSlam.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's huge.
Summer at the Garden.
Right.
At the
That's
Garden.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the time, and I say this all the time, but it's worth saying a million times in case anybody hears it for the first time. For the time I was 12 and Joey was probably 10, we knew we were going to be wrestlers, man. It wasn't a dream or a goal or a want or a hope. It was a fact. Like, there was no question about it. We knew it. I used to tell them, get my autograph now, because you're not going to be able to later. You're going to be bragging you went to school with me. You might as well get it now. Like, we knew it. Now, when I turned 19 and Joey was 17, hip-hop overtook that passion. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we had to face that reality that we were going to do this. We wanted this more now, But by the time I was 26 and Joey was 24, that dream, because we already had put that energy into it, it came back for us.
Yeah.
It was like, do you still want this?
Right.
I mean, what's the chances of that,
Yeah, you willed it into existence.
It willed itself, exactly, because we knew it all those years, and that's the laws of attraction, or the secret, they call it, We knew that, though. That's the difference. If you hope and wish and pray, that means you have doubt in you. You know what I'm saying? We knew. And that was like, bing, do you want this? So we're like, yeah. So we start doing Monday Night Raw. And back then, they used to do one live and then film the next one. And then you'd be off for 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Now that dressing room was very jealous. Did you have any problems with the other wrestlers? And what happened with the Headbangers?
Konnan, check this out. The day we got there, we just told Vince Russo, we need to paint up. This
Right.
is Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And we're like, we need to paint up, right? You
Right.
know why they took us, bro?
No.
They took us into a room, the only two people behind us, 5 feet behind us, sitting on a bench. And here's me and Joey painting up in the mirror. The only two behind us were Stone Cold and Undertaker going over their main event, right? So listen, I wanted to scream for them.
Right.
I wanted to say, get these clowns the out of here. The doors weren't even open yet in the building. Just tell me that's the only place we can paint up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was offended for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you know the
cry? But
Do you know the story of that match?
huh?
Do you know the story of that match?
Of Stone
Stone Cold
Cold
said it's one of the worst matches he's ever had. Him and Undertaker
it?
they hated it. Like they see, like they done like the documentary stuff. They couldn't. They said it bombed. They said,
Yeah, because Austin got concussed like 3 minutes into it.
right, maybe.
Oh, man.
Because
Oh, they were going over the spots. and we're painting up, and it was the most awkward. It was painful. It was so awkward. You know what I mean? I just wanted to.
on TV and it bombed.
But were you getting any problems or any heat from other wrestlers that were wondering who
No.
are these guys and why are they here?
We were getting heat, but we didn't know it. Okay, like
Right.
we were bringing boxes of swag every week. I mean, every other
Right.
week we were bringing boxes, just giving them out. There's a shirt that it's legendary in the Juggalo world. It's The Rock wearing one of our jerseys, you know,
Right.
and like, but we didn't know we had a problem. Here's where the problem came, and this is what really sucks, man, because I don't like it when adults lie. Maybe they're just remembering it wrong, but here's what happened. So we were there for like 2, maybe 3 months, right?
Right.
And we started to say, look, man, we're getting all this exposure and it's awesome, but we're missing our 2 of our concerts, actually 4 of our shows a month, you know, and we're not. They were giving us like a $2,000 or something to come there, you know,
Right.
and we were like, we're getting all this exposure, but these fans think we're a wrestling gimmick. They don't know we actually have product in the stores. They don't know we're actually musicians,
Right.
you know. So we kept telling Russo, just air this 30-second commercial on your thing. And if we need to change anything, like if we can't say available at Coconuts Records or something, we'll change anything about the commercial. You know what I mean? But we want this commercial aired. So every week he was like, for sure it's going to air this week. It's going to air this week. Week after week after week after week, it wouldn't air, you know? And we're like, what's the deal, you know? So finally we got to the last time we were there, and we did the live. I took a stunner that night from Stone Cold, and we got to the venue the next day, and our manager was like, man, they didn't air last night, just leave. And we finally walked out. But I want to tell you about what happened with the Headbangers. So we were doing this thing with the Headbangers. They get in the ring, and they call us out, right? And we had it worked out where me and Joey were supposed to do this thing where they meet us on the aisle, and they're on top of us. And at the same time, me and Joey flip them over and start banging on them, you know, try to get like a pop. We were supposed to do it simultaneously. Man, we met in that hallway, in the aisle. They were not moving. We went to turn them over. They beat us, man. I legit almost pants, like that close to legit pants. You know you're getting spanked when you almost pants, you know what I'm saying? And they were on us. And when they came back afterward, they came in our dressing room, they were like, everything cool. We were like, great, you know? But they knew what happened. Now, on a podcast, I saw one of them, Master Thrash, telling a story. He was like, the reason that happened was they were on their way out. They were demanding more money, and Russo told us, go out there and beat. First of all, that ain't true, because we didn't leave that night. We ended up joining the Headbangers a couple weeks later.
Right.
And we ended up working with them. So how that makes sense? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. We were. It sounds good, but we were not leaving. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
stayed with
think
them.
Vince Russo's the type of guy that would probably
Mike,
like your
go to Mike.
I think Vince is the type of guy that Russo, and it seemed like McMahon liked it, but Russo seemed like that's the type of gimmick he would like, because he liked to, like, remember the Whack Pack from,
Yeah.
like he liked, like, yeah.
And you know what's funny is even though we broke the cardinal rule, we walked out the side of the door of the arena.
Right.
I mean, we just walked out. You know what I'm saying? We were painted up and everything. And when we later got to WCW, Russo wasn't there yet. There was a year between our runs in WCW. When we went back to WCW, Russo was there. And you know what? There wasn't no heat because he knew he was leading us on. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
He never was like, no, I don't trust them. I'm not working with them. They walked out on me. It wasn't nothing like that.
Right.
You know, because he knew that he was being untruthful.
I just
For
remember
whatever
the main thing, because when I saw you guys, like, I would say half the locker room or more, we were like, if these guys in any way have an ego or they're disrespectful, that was my mentality, bro. And you were nothing but professional and respectful. So there was no way.
Man, that's your house.
couldn't be-
That's your guys' house.
Yeah.
We were honored to be there. We didn't know how to show our gratitude. You know what I'm saying? We just we love wrestling so much, and it was our first love, you know. But we didn't know. We understood the heat. I mean, of course.
Right.
Who are these rappers beating these actual wrestlers? You know what I'm saying? Like, we totally got it, you know. But we, at the same time, we felt we felt that we had a role because ICP is as pro wrestling as anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But this sounds like gimmick. You know what
Now,
I'm saying?
how was your experience? Because I remember Disco was there too when you first came into TNA, which you brought a whole bunch of juggalos. They were kind of violent. They were fighting in the stand. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember that.
Yeah, dude, that's where I think we had one of our best matches. I watched it the other day for the first time since then, and it was me and Joey versus Glenn and Kid Cash. And what was cool was it was like they called it like a Carnival Funhouse match or something. So there was no tags, you know, and I couldn't believe because I always blow up, you know what I'm saying, with the quickness, and I was like looking at that, and I'm like, I don't know how I lasted that match. You know what I mean? But
Well,
you
'cause
guys gave us a
I like
great
take all the
match.
right. We used to because we take a lot of bumps for it. You know, like we did a lot of work. The funny
Yeah.
thing about that was a funny angle. Because you remember the
With
angle
David
was
Young
like,
afraid of the
yeah,
clown.
David was afraid of the
Yeah,
clowns.
that was great.
We had some
That was
really
cool.
good vignettes to build up to that. So it was I enjoyed it, man. I was like, you know, it was
Yeah,
funny.
no, you guys took care of us on that, and I think that might be like like I'm looking back, you know, recently, and I'm like, man, that was a good match. You know what I'm saying? Like that might have been our best match. You know what I mean?
Let me ask
And
you
what
this.
was- yeah,
Bon-
it was
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, well, another thing that was bizarre about it is me being the fat guy. Usually, I get the hat tag. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we didn't do it that way. You guys gave me all the heat, and then Joey got the hot tag. You know what I mean? It just was different than any way we normally ever set up a match. You know what I mean? You guys really took care of us, man.
Now, both of us being huge hip hop bands, right? And you've brought in so many people from 3-6 Mafia to MC Hammer to Ice Cube to like everybody, bro. What was the biggest mark out moment for you, or two or three of somebody that you actually met?
Cube, Ice Cube.
Cube.
He's my hero. He's my favorite rapper of all time. You know. And when he came to play the Gathering, he was in his bus, and they just pulled the bus right to the back of the stage. You know, they were about to come out there and go right up the steps. And I said, "Can I talk to him?" And they went in, and some guy came back out, and he was like, "No."
Wow, so
was
you're
like,
paying him to perform, and wouldn't even talk to
Hey,
you?
I didn't care. I was happy
That's
he was rocking the
weird.
Gathering. You know,
That's
So-
weird. Yeah.
So then I said, well, I just wanted to give him a heads up on a couple of things, you know, because people go up there, and when you hear 10,000 people going whoop whoop, it can
Right.
sound like they're booing.
Right. If you've never
You know what
heard
I'm
it
saying?
before. Yeah.
Yeah, and wrestling commentators comment on that all the time. I wonder why they're booing, you know?
Right.
All right.
You know, they're going whoop whoop, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I wanted to tell them that, and I wanted to tell them where they're at, because why the reason these legends and heroes get booed off is because if the Gathering is an hour outside of Cleveland that year, right, in the middle of nowhere, people come from all over the country to the Gathering, all over the world.
Yeah.
So if the rapper's up there in between every song, he's like, Cleveland, Cleveland, it's obvious he don't know what he's playing.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that nothing will irk a juggalo quicker
Right.
than when this guy is playing something that's so special to them. This isn't just another concert, you know,
Right.
to the juggalos, you know, and so they want to be addressed as juggalo, you know what I mean? And so anyway, I wanted to tell all that to Cube. I wanted to say, you know, they go whoop whoop and they chant family, and that means if they chant that, that means they're accepting you. You're one of them. You know what I mean? And what else did I tell them? Oh, I said, listen, they throw, but
Right.
they're not throwing it at you. If they want to hit you, they'll hit you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
It's just the chaos of the show, you know? You'll notice a big gulp flying 10 feet over your head. They're not trying to hit you.
Right.
You'll notice if you look around, there's big gulps flying everywhere on this. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It's not just at you, you know? And so when I told Cube that, the coolest thing was, oh, and he let me on, and I told him all that, you know? It was Cube and Dub C standing there dressed all in black, you know? I was like, oh my God, you know? I just said, what's up, Dub C? It's an honor. And I was like, Cube, it's an honor. Then I got right to business and started telling them, you know what I mean?
Right.
And what was cool is they went out there and used every bit of advice I gave them.
Wow.
Like right away, they're like, what's up, family? You know what I'm saying? They took everything and he killed it. And Cube came back 2 years later. And listen to this. Before Cube came that first time, we were trying to get him on an album, right? We offered him $100,000 to do a verse, 16
Right.
bars, 100 grand. He said no. After he came back to the gathering the second time, he did it for free.
Wow.
Yo, that's right there. That's
That's the
I
coolest
want-
thing I could ever brag about in my life.
I want to get your take on this because you rap.
Plus, Cube's my top 3 of all time. And not only that, bro, because I lived in California, so you can't imagine how crazy this was. Because you're listening to guys that are not singing rap like other people, and they're not dressing like other people. Because everybody at that time, if you remember, they were into the cross colors and the FUBU and all that. They were just either white T-shirts with black pants or the black Dickies with the LA, bro. That everybody in California was rocking that, bro. And I thought him, and I liked Eazy-E, even though he wasn't as good as Ice Cube. I just liked his voice because he
His
sounded
voice
like a
was so
young
unique,
kid,
man.
right? Yeah.
I want to get your take on this because you're in hip hop. You're in the community, bro. What's your take on where the diss rap has gotten these days? Has it gotten to like, I see the message, but like, then you got guys like driving by guys' house and trying to things and
Yeah,
stuff.
of course, that's maniac. I mean, like, okay, there's rappers out there. Like, rappers always wear their record label logo. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is our Psychopathic Records.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And rappers always wear. Man, rappers are like fans too. When they see a rapper they don't like or something, they'll start videotaping and they'll snatch his chain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, this is music. You know?
Can I give you my thought on that, Joe? Because I'm very opinionated on this, and I want to see what you
Me
think.
too.
Here's
Yes,
the problem.
please.
Here's a problem. In today's, especially gangster rap or drill rap, okay, especially like from Chicago, because these are killing people. Then right after videotaping, saying, right, bro, like that, and to that genre of listeners, the only way you keep your credibility is to still be on the streets. You know what I'm saying? So all these guys are still on the streets. They're still doing, you know what I'm saying? And that's when it really becomes dangerous because, you know what I'm saying?
I don't want none of that static.
Right.
Straight up. Man, I'm telling you, quick, look, I got a bad heart. Don't.
Right. No, but you're an older dude. These are young cats, like
That's
King
what I'm
Von
saying.
got
I want
killed
none
in
of that
Chicago.
static. Take the
Yeah,
thing.
these guys, bro,
With
they've
the-
taken it to another level, bro.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just the fact that it's gotten somehow in the name of music is insanity to me.
Like, bro, have you heard NBA Youngboy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
He ain't afraid. He don't get this
a rap
Kodak
serial
Black.
killers.
Yeah,
There used to be a rapper that killed somebody.
yeah,
These serial killers.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
Then it's like known to the public before it's known by the police.
Yep.
Like the whole it's like, yeah, he's a serial killer. And I'm like, what? And it's true, you know what I'm saying?
That's real.
How's everybody aware that he's serial killing and he's still doing concerts? Like,
Because people like that. That to them, he's real. You know what I'm saying? He ain't a studio gangster. He ain't a, you know what I'm saying? Like this guy's really, about that life.
yeah, and there's too many people like that, listen, I used to think dissing in raps was kind of dope because
Because it was part of
hip-hop.
rap. Yeah.
It was unique,
Yeah.
because people used to diss each other in freestyle battles, and afterward they would hug and go home. Or
Right.
at the worst, they would be a little salty and then be all right in the morning,
Right.
But pulling guns out and murdering songs and
Talking about it on IG.
putting
That's
hits
bro.
out of in
Yeah.
the lyrics,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying?
And it's like, what if you guys make too much money to be doing? Like,
It's just
that's
so
what you're like,
moronic. It's so incredibly moronic. You look at these young, handsome, rich going to prison,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
22, all that for the rest of your life, and you just did this to be tough. You're already rich. You're already killing it. What else do you got to gain besides a prison rap sentence? You know, like, I don't understand how people can throw their lives away and have so little value for anybody else's life over rap. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
to use murder behind rap and for it to be a normal thing. Look at the tragedy with Pac and Biggie, right? Look at the tragedy.
That was brutal, bro.
Look
We
at
lost
how
two of the
many
best.
it's been
They were like
since then, though,
25.
Conan.
They were like
How many
25.
it's been since then.
Yeah.
It's normal now in Chicago, especially.
Yep. Chicago was really bad. Yep.
Man, I don't want that part of hip hop. I don't want nobody beating me down and snatching my chain, man. I ain't trying to be tough like that. Look, I'm about entertainment. I ain't
Right.
trying to keep it real.
Right.
We don't live in a real world all the time.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just an entertainer, man. I'm a clown. Don't come snatch my chain. You can have it.
Let me ask you this question. What was it like, bro? Because when they come at you, you've got to be thinking our career, or were you thinking, you know what, we're going to make a stance when the FBI came after you?
That's scary.
That's what I was saying.
First, you know, we didn't know how to address it, so we tried to sue the FBI 4 times. You know, they put us on that, in 2011, they put us on the National Gang Assessment List.
Right.
Top 10 gangs in the country with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Top 10?
Yeah.
Top 10.
Yes.
With the Aryan Brotherhood, the MS-13.
You guys are
Crips.
like,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
like,
Right.
I met these guys.
This has never happened in music history, bro.
Yeah.
They put juggalos, our fan base, and I'm gonna tell you how they do it. Here's how they do it. Just go, when there's a rural town, like somewhere out in mountain Montana, if there's 50 kids hanging out in a park and they're all wearing the same thing and they're all wearing this, if the police say that's a gang in their city, they get extra money to combat those gangs. Now, I don't know if those monies go to liners for their police cruisers to sit their on, or maybe new billy clubs or what, but they get extra funding from the government to combat that alleged gang in their city. So what you have is all these rural neighborhoods all across America being like, we got them too. We got them too. You know what I mean? They're out here too, the juggalos. It's ridiculous. It's all over money. A book came out called Juggalo, written by a crime writer named Steve Miller, not the singer. And I couldn't even finish it. I was getting a panic attack reading. Like, there are juggalos, ex-juggalos, or juggalo traders, or whatever you want to call them, whose profession it is or was then to fly around and give seminars to police agencies about juggalo detection. Like, this is their logo. This is another one of their logos. This is, so that you can identify juggalos. And here's how you're on that gang list. Here's how it matters, okay? We thought it was cool at first. We're like,
Right.
oh yeah, we're a gang, that's fun. No. Listen, if you're fighting for custody with your ex, her or his attorney can be like, Your Honor, this person is a gang member in the eyes of the government, and they're not lying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're getting popped for a little or something, and you're getting sentenced, you're not just getting sentenced for your blow. You're getting sentenced as a gang member. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in that database. This is affecting lives, man. And that's when it became a problem. So we started, and also like Spencer's, Hot Topics, all our merchandise became gang apparel instantly. It just got sucked right out of stores.
Oh my God.
The insurance on our concerts went up because now they're gang rallies. Nobody wants to book a gang rally. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It affected so much. We tried to sue the FBI 4 times. It didn't work. Got thrown out all 4 times. We even had the ACLU on our side. So finally, we were like 2017, and we did a march on Washington. And people are like, that's nothing but a publicity stunt. What is a march? That's exactly what a march is.
Right.
To stand up for something and say, hey, we want everybody's attention to say something. You know what I mean? Right. And we just wanted the world to know, or America to know, that juggalos are not okay with being a gang. Because if we don't do anything, if we didn't march, or we didn't try to sue them, we might as well be a gang.
Yeah. Right.
And just lay there and take it,
Now, did they ever take you off the list?
No, the thing was, 2011 is the only year that list ever came out.
Right. So you
they
might
never
still
made
be
a
on it
public
and you don't know?
again. We don't know. But,
Right.
you know.
Have they
but-
still
but-
with you since then or no?
No, well, see, after we did that tour, I mean, after we did the march, we did so much press on that tour that we feel like it was mission accomplishment. First of all, we had no idea how many people were coming to the march. We drew 4,000, man.
Right.
We didn't even know at the time how expensive hotels were in D.C. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't know any of that.
Right.
And we played in front of the Lincoln Monument that night, you know, doing a concert.
How sweet
They
is
told
that?
us not to swear. We opened the show with, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, we feel like it was mission accomplished because so many people talked about it and wrote about it. Us in the Juggalos saying, "Yo, we're not a gang," and that's all we wanted to know. So we're still not in Hot Topics and Spencer's, but things have gradually. We still can't book a gathering on the West Coast because that's where it's not
Really?
in every state, but it's worse than the West Coast. You know.
Wow.
So we
Because
can't
of so
get a
much gang
gathering over there.
activity.
The closest we got was Oklahoma.
So, but that's the one where
Let's cut him up at the pass at the Midwest.
that's the one where KG was your spokesman, right? At the Washington D.C. thing.
He was among spokesmen.
Okay, Joe, do you have that clip that I asked you to put together for
Yeah, well,
Violent J?
I sent Jay the rehash because instead of a clip, dude, it was like 30 minutes of just KG getting buried.
Did you ever hear this?
No.
Bro, please listen to it. You will laugh. You will laugh. I guarantee you will laugh. And I want you to tell me what you think of it when I see you in TJ. It's very funny. Yeah. He gets emasculated publicly.
Man, it's so strange, man. That guy, you know what happened.
What happened?
I used to
Let
love
the
him.
people
you know
know.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he just began to change, you know. And really, all we wanted was him to acknowledge it, because we're like, yo, all these wrestlers are mad at you. You know, they're all saying the same thing. You're screaming at them and stuff. You know, are you going through something, bro? Are you going through something? And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And we're like, man, the whole locker room hates you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it wasn't always like this, Kev. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, let
What's
me tell you
going
how
on?
much heat. Let me tell you how much heat he has. This show's been around for 7.5 years, right?
Yeah.
People to this day, because we have a thing called mailbag where they ask a question. People to this day at the end will put P.S. KG sucks or some that. Yeah.
It's been 8 years, Konnan, and actually KG's been off the show for 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still bury him
It's just
because he
kinda
was such
funny,
a.
right?
yeah.
You wouldn't understand like why people are not like it's like, dude, because it's what you're saying. Like, you
Yeah,
know, it's like
I
if
feel
you
like a darkness crept into him, man. Like
Yeah.
I feel
He
like
would
he got angry. I have my own theory on it, actually.
Kick it.
Well, you know, like he told me one time, he's a great commentator.
Right.
You know, we used to use him on commentary.
Right.
And he was funny and he was good at it, you know, very good at it. And he told me his dream was to be in the WWE doing commentary, you know.
Right.
Right.
And I said, well, have you put the tapes together and everything? I remember I was painting up in a bus in California, just me and him in the bus. And he's like, no. And I'm like, you never sent him nothing? And he said, no. And I just turned around and looked at him like, what? What? What do you think they're going to do? Like, what? You're not making an attempt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not just going to come get you. Like, send them your stuff. Show them you're hungry. Like, anyway, but this is my theory. Why he started to change, I think. I felt like he's angry that he never got that shot.
I would agree
Because
with that.
year after year, man, I felt like he was sliding into this different person with anger in him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I remember that conversation and how he actually thought he didn't have to put any effort. They would just come to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, you really never in your life put a compilation together? And he's like, well, what should I send him? And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? There's 35 hours of you doing commentary. You've been doing all our tours, you know? Like, I don't know. You figure that out.
So on the show, Joe, I would go off on him, right? And I would call him like Buckethead because he had a big head, aardvark. And then I go, but I would say 47-year-old. And he would write me back. He'd go, please don't say my age on the air because WWE isn't going to hire me. I go, Jerry Lawler's older. Lawler's older than you. Okay, talent is talent.
Right.
But they're not going to hire you because, number one, you're making zero effort. You know what I'm saying? They don't know you're there. You know?
Right. 1,000%.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, he was salty that they never signed him. That's my theory. He's salty. They never
I would
signed
agree
him.
with
And now
that.
it's gone into a whole, resentment for younger, maybe, people.
Right.
I don't know, but I just stay away from him. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, so do we. Boom. So, hey, you're coming to Tijuana to WrestleMania, okay?
That's right.
You're going
Triple
out.
Mania.
Triple Mania, my bad. You're going out with your boy Mecca, right?
Yeah.
Mecca Wolf, and hopefully, we'll do something with you and what are the clown's name again?
Oh, the Brothers of Fun Structure.
The brother of Funk
Yabo
Structure,
and
who I
Rufo.
think are great. Yeah. And hopefully do some stuff in TJ.
But you guys got clowns. You guys got clowns.
Yeah, but that's a good feud. We're the
Oh,
real
you're
clowns
right.
against you guys are just marks or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Beat them up somewhere, leave them laying, and off we go. You know what
you
I'm
know what
saying?
I'm doing right from Tijuana?
What?
I'm going to Texas
Right?
to spend 3 days because this guy has Sasquatch on his property, Disco. He
That's
does.
funny.
He lives
Right.
in the swamplands, and we got to get on a little boat and go 2 miles up a thin creek into the swamps. And there's a piece of land, and we're gonna camp on that land for 3 days, and that's where they're at. He said if we wait by the rear of his property, there's a little one that comes around and is curious. You know what I mean? But
Now,
he
why
said,
would you believe this guy?
well, I looked him in the eyes. Sometimes, brother, you just got to use that judgment. You know what I'm saying? What else can you do,
What if
And
Sasquatch goes wild and kills both of you?
I'll tell you this. The life I've lived,
Yeah.
having my head
That's
ripped
a good
off by
he- that's a
Sasquatch
good
would
ending
be a
for you.
dope way to die.
And the last interview you did was on this show. Right.
But no, what I'm going to do, brother Konnan, is
Yeah.
I'm going to dart it,
Right?
and I'm going to train it and bring it to AAA for you, brother.
Nah, you can have that. I don't want this like in the King Kong movie where they had him chained up and he, got loose
Come on,
and just.
that's money, man. Ready to wrestle.
We'll talk about it in TJ. But hey, my friend. So are you still rapping with Shaggy Two Dope?
Of course, I saw him
Okay, yeah,
today.
because I don't see you guys that much together anymore. Like I don't even. Well, not that I, look for you guys.
We don't tour as much. We don't tour anymore, but we like he just got off his solo tour. I did 2 solo tours in the last 4 months, I believe, with 2 other friends of mine. But man, we just do our annual events, the Gathering, Hollow Wicked, Big Baller Christmas Party, Juggalo Weekend, and we do festivals every year, like 3 or 4 festivals. But we don't want to. Oh, we're doing one more farewell tour next year. Going around
That's
the
it?
world. Yeah,
That's
one
it
more.
after next year. Will you
Yeah,
be
as
coming
far
to
as
San
touring-
Diego, or
as
do you
far
know?
as touring, but we're always gonna play. We're always gonna
Yeah.
do shows. We don't need to get in a bus and pound the pavement like that no more, man.
Let me know if you come to San Diego. I'd like to come check you out.
Absolutely, brother.
This guy's in Vegas disco. So if you go there,
You're gonna come. Hey, you guys know JCW? What we're doing with JCW? We got 64 shows booked.
no.
You really?
Routed. Yeah, we're doing 2 tours. We're doing a 25 city tour at the end of August and 3 weeks into September. And then in October, we're doing a 6 city tour, the last 6 days of up till Halloween. And then, well, actually, depending on how the first 25 city tour and the Halloween tour go, we're planning on doing a second tour in November into December, unless for some reason the first one's a disaster. But we haven't had any disasters on our JCW tours yet.
Yeah,
what
you
I
guys
mean?
know how to market yourselves, so that's the main thing. So I was like, I
You're-
was so impressed when I
you
went
talk
to your warehouse. I was like,
when you talk DIY, that's ICP.
Yeah, that's the thing. For a lot of promoters, it's got to be tough to do a wrestling tour, but we've been a touring machine our whole career, and we have agencies that get the venues and get the hotels and we have agencies that do all that and take their piece. So it's not really as big of an endeavor for us to tour like that as it may sound. You know what I mean? Because we have these routes carved out. We've been taking these tunnels for years.
All right, my friend. Tell people where they can find you if you want to plug any projects or anything.
Yeah, at no, violentj.icp on Instagram. Everybody hit me up on Insta, man. violentj.icp. I got the blue check, man.
You're not on Twitter?
No.
Okay.
All I actually
just
do
IG.
is Instagram, yeah.
All right. So
I
check
love
out
you
our
guys, man.
Yeah, us too. Check this guy out. I'll see you in TJ, my friend. And thank you very much for being on, keeping it 100. Boom.
Thank you. Whoop, whoop.
Good talking to you, my
Whoop,
friend.
whoop.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Be cool, my
Thank you.
friend.
Good seeing
Yo,
you,
what's
brother.
up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.